Olde Scot the Celtic podcast. Kimraha Huladunya, how is everyone? On today's show in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try Little Gaelic. Lesson 12. In Celtic history, the fourth invasion of Ireland, fear Bolgs. In everyday Celtic way, Saucy Mary. And we're going to hear music from Capercaillie, Katrina Watt, Claire, Cruin, and Gillibride McMillan. And as always, it's a wee bit of Irish trivia to start us off. What is the name of the leprechaun's walking stick? Check out the Olde Scot Facebook group where you can be a part of the Celtic culture, and keep an eye out for all the different videos our YouTube channel and Facebook group have to offer. Feuchamaich, let's kick this thing off. Alright, welcome to the Gaelic music video, and this one today is on Bolgs Band. Now the woman or girl in this is the subject of this song is she's heartsick, whereas she puts it Gurachin a galar an cry, which means what a deadly sickness is love. Now she pines for a fair-haired young man who is handsome, of course. She deeply laments for him and wishes to give him her hand, but alas, she is, in her words, alone without you, lamenting on a knoll. Man, I feel for that woman. Alright, remember the Gaelic's on top, the English is on the bottom, so get ready for this wonderful song arranged by Capercaillie. Enjoy.
Cherken nach
Scottish Gaelic is native to the Gaels of Scotland. Scottish Gaelic developed out of the Old Irish, and learning this beautiful language can be a direct link to your Gaelic ancestors. Follow along in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, and like I said, let's try a little Gaelic. Fáilte ye Olde Scots, the beginner's Gaelic course. Kimra hula dunya, how is everyone? Looky there, you already know how to say welcome to and how is everyone. Alright, in the next 25 lessons of Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try a Little Gaelic, with a little work you can gain a rudimentary understanding of the Scottish Gaelic language. Now, these lessons were taken from my weekly podcast beginning back on May 15th of 2020. So if you like, you can listen to them there as well. But please remember that I am not an authority on the Gaelic language. I just love learning it. I struggle like most all learners, and so what I teach comes right from well-respected Gaelic teachers. I hope you find it interesting, informative, and fun, and as always, I display on the screen what I'm discussing so you can follow along. Alright, Feuchamaich, which means, alright then, let's get started. And we're going to do lesson 12, and it's the past tense of the verb to be. Now, like all verbs in Gaelic, there is only one form for all persons. For a positive statement in the past tense, this is va. Just add the subject to it, either a pronoun or a noun. This gives you the basis on sentence structure, just like in the present tense. Verb, subject, and everything else. Alright, pronouns are combined with the verb va as follows. Va me is I was. Va u, you were. Va e, he was. Va e, she was. Va shin, we were. Va shiv, you were. And that's the plural or formal form. Va it, they were. Okay, now I know you've heard this before, but remember there's two ways to say you in Gaelic. It's u, which is you for the singular usage, or the informal for a friend, somebody you've known your whole life, or a child, and shiv, and that's you for a formal usage, showing respect, or if you don't know the person. And you also use that for a plural for when speaking to one or more persons. Now, adjectives can be used following the verb to be, the same as in the present tense. The adjective is the same for all subjects. So, like the feminine subject, va I fur, she was cold. Plural subject, va it fur, they were cold. And the masculine subject, va Callum fur, Callum was cold. And the same goes for the other three forms of the verb to be in the past tense. You got the independent or the positive statement, you have the dependent or the negative statement, you have the interrogative or the positive question, and you have the negative interrogative or negative question. Okay, now you've already seen va as the positive statement in the past tense. Learning the negative statement and the positive and negative questions will open your abilities to form sentences and begin communicating even more in Gaelic. And here's some examples. Va, which of course is the positive statement. Va I fur, it was cold. And you have Calro, which is the negative statement. Calro I fur, it was not cold. And you have the positive question, which is Anro. Anro I fur, was it cold? And then you have the negative question, which is Nachro. Nachro I fur, was it not cold? Alright, and that's kind of it for va, as far as the past tense of the verb to be. Now you're going to see it, and you're going to need to use it, and I'm going to give you 6 sentences here to work on to
give you some usage on it. So, number 1, Va mi adol anan bu. Number 2, Anro u adol yan skol. 3, Karol mi adol yan skol. 4, Vashinach aber antai. 5, Nachro e roche. And 6, Va-e.
Celtic history brings you the tales of the land, castles, warriors, heroes, legends, and customs that have created the rich, vibrant, and sometimes strange and wonderful history of the Celtic world. This is an 8-part series on the Book of Invasions, Labar Gabala Eran, the Book of Invasions of Ireland. The people of Ireland in medieval times had never believed that Gaelic-speaking people were a native of their land. They had believed that the Ireland was invaded and settled by successive Celtic tribes over different periods. Their history is based largely upon the pseudo-historical Labar Gabala, translated as the Book of Invasions. Now, the Book of Invasions form a major part of the Irish mythological cycle and was supposed to contain the history of Ireland. It is the story of successive invasions and settlement of Ireland. There have been 6 invasions: the Caesarians, Partholanians, Numidians, Bolgs, the Tuath Danann, and the last group of invaders, the Milesians, who became the ancestors of the modern Irish people. The 4th invasion, the Bolgs. The next group to arrive in Ireland was the Bolgs. The Bolgs were actually descendants of the Numidians, who fled Ireland from both the war against the Fomorians and the plague that ravaged their population. Simeon, great-great-grandson of Nemed, had brought his followers to Greece, but they suffered from slavery and oppression at the hands of their Greek masters. Now it was the 5 sons of Dela, descendants of Simeon, who took his people out of slavery in Greece and Thrace, bringing them back to Ireland 230 years later. The sons of Dela, Bolgs, divided Ireland between themselves, but their power in Ireland only lasted for about 37 years before the Tuath Danann arrived. The Bolgs were often seen as inferior people, and strangely, quite primitive to the Tuath Danann, and later the Milesians. Talatu was the daughter of King of the Magmor, or the Great Plain, from the land of the dead, which was a poetic name for Spain. Taltu married to the last Feuchamaich king, Feuchamaich who died at the first battle of Moytura at their husband's death. She married again Feuchamaich, a Danann warrior, since she was the foster mother of Lu. She was held in honor at the Lugnasig by the Tuath Danann. Not much was known about these people, except with their dealings with other settlers. They did not seem to have any trouble with the Fomorians, technological superior weapons. The Bolg warrior, Diad, was the champion of Cuchulainn. He was one of Maeve's champions who fought against Cuchulainn in single battle. Diad was killed after 3 days of fighting. And then we move on to the next invasion.
Ryan agus Chown. Get hidich kach siat fanit room nach hil ma frohe Chown. Am fede kam vel forstan ha kroische genach jaun. Sam mishet heingel taliche get hamos baran gaun. Gummes wane chimi mochaling jiles traun. Benne chwalen reieren cheshe jede gefaun. She kainst of y'all bevinjelum en noer begminjing traum. Stu hokeg suas mochri noer vitu pringru.
Everyday Celtic Ways brings you the mythology, traditions, and customs that have created a unique and personal culture that still affects those that are Celtic and those that just love the Celtic world. Saucy Mary. In the mid-13th century, King Alexander II, followed by his son Alexander III, attempted to incorporate the western seaboard of Scotland into the growing Scottish realm. Although the Battle of Largs between Scotland and Norway on the 2nd of October 1263 did not result in a decisive victory for the Scottish, it signaled the end of the power of Norway over the Norse Gaels. Those are the people of Gallic and Scandinavian origin mixed, who lived in the Western Isles. Now, after the Battle of Largs, King Haakon spent the winter at the Bishop's Palace in Kirkwall, Orkney, intending to resume the battle and defend his lands against the expanding power of Scotland. However, during his stay in Kirkwall, he fell ill and died on the 16th of December, 1263. After his death, Scottish incursions increased, eventually leading to the Treaty of Perth on the 2nd of July, 1266. Which was agreed in order to end a conflict between Norway and Scotland. Under the treaty, Scotland was given sovereignty of the Hebrides and the Isle of Man. At the same time, Scotland recognized Norwegian sovereignty over Shetland and Orkney. To this day, Norse influences remain strong in the Western Isles of Scotland. Place names and legends have strong Viking connections. The same is true of Cailleachin, or Col Eichin, the village on the Strait of Cailleachin, named after the great King Haakon IV. Close to the village, on a promontory overlooking the strait, stands the remains of Castell Moll, which during the late Middle Ages was known as Dunnakin. Now, this castle was built by the MacKinnons in the late 15th century. Carbon dating from part of the existing remains suggests that the castle that can be seen today was constructed between 1490 and 1513. However, it is said that another fort stood there before the present structure, which was the home to a powerful Norwegian princess who controlled the entrance to the loch with an iron fist. Legend tells us that the castle was built by this Norwegian princess known as Saucy Mary, who was married to a MacKinnon chief. It is said that she derived an income by stretching a large chain across the Kyle, which would exact tolls from all ships passing through the Narrows except from those, of course, from her own native Norway. Those that defied her were set upon, the toll taken by the force, and only then allowed to continue on. Upon her death, her remains were interred beneath a cairn in nearby Ben Nachalik, so that the winds from her native land could pass over her final resting place. The huge ancient cairn of the Norwegian princess remains on the summit of Ben Nachalik, which stands at 2,402 feet. Below it are the ruins of Castell Moll, in a beautiful location and with a commanding position above the Kyle of Lochos, a stronghold that was once said to be the princess's home and from which she controlled the waters that surrounded it. Even now, the remains of the castle are an impressive sight, floodlit at night, standing proud as a reminder of the legend of the Norwegian princess who guarded and controlled the Strait of Kyleakin.
Husk mi yn rhaid gadw'n draen sy'n eich Gacw mi brwch yn sŵnd Wsan am frwad yr an Wsan am smoen Sloenioch mo chatos mo hoen Fain mo fian chafiach wsar im hyf Gawn symud gycier y gynla Tiwn dygnad garstyn am chwmal gydlw Stanel flaeth mo grwai Seg jereg na haiche fo holas nan rail Gach rannag a jersek yn sglio Hocyn mo hwlrwt mar flwr sydd grein Join ciad flas do ffog
Top 11 Heritage. Now remember to check out my YouTube channel. It's got Celtic music, podcasts, Gaelic language, Gaelic song, Celtic history videos, plus lots more. And my Facebook group where you can give me your inputs and insights on all things Celtic. But before I let you go, the trivia question answer. Shillelagh. Martian leaving Dresden. Bye for now. But I'm going to let you go with a song.
Goodbye, Bobby.
Ushtuðin in J Marava Sanju Marahas Kana tu amada Hami Kinyach Maravi Achanyes Jerdu Ta Gadish the skew Nom femu aradhish Femu